Hey guys, ZW here, and after 3 straight months of making Toy Story toys, I am burnt out. And I wanna be able to take a breather to make something smaller and simpler. I did a quick poll and the clear winner was Pokemon. So who better to kick this off but Pikachu? That's not Pikachu, that is Gorochu, a lost Pokemon that was scrapped from the original Game Boy games. According to Game Freak developers in 2018, Raichu was supposed to evolve into Gorochu but was cut due to memory issues. A recent leak in 2019 revealed only his backsprite, and this is an artist recreation by FATCHU. And it just blew my mind. I had to make him. But first we need a Pikachu, the very first Pokemon that Ash encountered because he overslept, and he got a shocking surprise, literally. The original watercolor art style had Pikachu really fat, and that was what I grew up with, so I really wanted to replicate that. Fortunately, we have our work cut out for us because we have 3D models from the Pokemon games. We just gotta make Pikachu fat. I gain weight even when I breathe, but sculpting something fatter is easier said than done because there's only one image to work with. The image is also not symmetrical, so it's super duper hard to replicate it in 3D space. I was literally sweating, trying really hard to not make it look like a nightmare, but I failed. FATCHU, Pikachu shall stay in 2D space for now. For the sake of my sanity, I had to make do with the Gen 3 official artwork featuring a slightly skinnier Pikachu. And because we love accuracy so much, I'm going to follow the pose as closely as possible. I gave it some eyeshadows and blushes and went ahead to help him gain weight by adding some baby fat on his face. In the picture, he looks like he's in mid-air hopping towards presumably his owner, so we need his legs to be backwards and his ears slanting in different directions as well. He's also trying to grab some balls, Pokeballs maybe, and he will be needing his thumbs for that. His tail will also need to be positioned precisely 45 degrees to the right to maintain his balance as stated in the Pokédex, not really. After marking out his eyes and cheeks, we can sharpen those details like his mouth, flatten the inside, give him a little nose, little tongue. Let's not forget his 2 stripes at the back, and that's about it. For Raichu, his face is a little rounder than his 3D counterpart and a lot fatter. As usual, marking out those details would help with the overall shape when you modify things. This Raichu is so fat that he looks like he's having trouble even moving. I had to pull his back legs back and kind of break his other leg to rotate it, and it looks so bad. But after adjusting and shaving off his tummy fat a little, we finally made enough space for his fat legs, and it's time to adjust his long tail. It's quite irritating to try and wrap the tail around, so I did it with brute force. But we can always go back and inflate the part to make it look more natural, and we are done. Finally, we can have some fun making something special, Gorochu, which I only found out recently thanks to Dr. Lava. Since Gorochu looks a lot like Raichu, we can simply reuse the model by mirroring his legs to the other side and make him even fatter. Somehow after evolution, his long feet became smaller and sharper again like Pikachu's, and he opens his mouth, but slightly angrier this time. According to Game Freak, he has fangs, horns, and looked like the god of thunder, not Thor, more like the Japanese Raijin. So the 3 yellow symbols actually makes a lot of sense. And the horns as well. For the ears, I just reused Raichu's ears, stuffed half of it into his brains and cut it shorter. With only a single image, the fingers turned out really awkward, so I had to rely on my extensive knowledge on Pokemon anatomy to adjust them into a more natural position. I absolutely love how the artist gave Gorochu tiny horns at the back and his little fangs. It's like he's trying to be fierce, but he just looks so cute and harmless. For his stripes, at first I marked them out like I did the eyes, but they looked too basic, so I decided to extract them out to give them more layers. I mean, I can tell that the artist had fun extending these stripes, trying to make Gorochu cool. But damn, that's a lot of work in 3D space, thanks dude. But in all seriousness, I am glad that I extracted them, cause he does look really cool in the end. It's a really great design choice. But why must they all be floating in mid-air? Cause they certainly won't stay that way when printed out. So I had to stick a pole right up their bottoms and rotate them into their original poses. And we are ready to print. Not really. Cause they are all too damn huge. I don't want to wait another 3 days for the prints to be ready. This is meant to be a simple project. Back in my days, Takara Tomi's Pokemon figurines are all the same size, regardless of evolution. Similarly, I'm going to scale them down to around the same size, use the same base and pose, and print them all at one go, using our Formlabs printer. Form 3 to be exact. Very reliable, very costly. Luckily, we have our coffee crew. Welcome our newest member, TK, and our one-offs from 3D Thor, Manga Boy, and
Och, Katzel, Schworf.
Thank you all for lessening the burden on these expensive resin materials. Now we can send. It's something we can never escape when printing, big or small, there is always send. And somehow I prefer sending bigger prints because these tiny Pokemons are so delicate. I was afraid of breaking something. I only printed one base because I wanted to save printing materials by making a mold. Yes, a mold. Something I have not made in years. And I'm not even sure if my silicone could still work, but let's give it a try. I built a clay base for the print to stand on and surrounded it with Lego bricks. This pole will be transparent when I cast it with UV resin so that it will not look like there's something sticking into our precious Pokemon. We just gotta pour the 2-part silicone, mix them well off screen, and slowly pour them into our Lego enclosure. Slightly tilt it to let the air bubbles escape, and for the base, I'm gonna poke the hole with a toothpick and pour in the rest. After 6 hours, the molds have cured, and as expected, my silicone has expired, but I think it's still usable. As for the pole, we are gonna cut it out in a zigzag pattern so that the mold will stick back together accurately. However, as with any ZBuild video, things won't always go as planned. I have overestimated the power of UV resin, and it turns out that the light couldn't shine all the way through once the upper layer of resin has hardened, leaving me with a mold full of liquid resin and some residues. Useless. As for the base, I am mixing some white resin, which also expired, so even though it's cured, it's somehow still wet inside the mold. I don't care, I'm still gonna use it. In a desperate attempt to make a transparent pole, I used the mold that came with the UV resin and only poured resin in one side of the square, and it cured perfectly, but it's too small for the base. Frick! Let's just paint. These are less complicated since it's smaller and not detailed like human faces, so it should be done fairly quickly. Unfortunately for us, I am also a perfectionist, so when I saw some layer lines on Pikachu's ears, I had to stop and sand them smooth before proceeding. Since we still have some yellow in the airbrush, we might as well paint all the yellow parts for the other 2 Pokemon. After some brown and red, I gave Pikachu a pink tongue and went ahead to paint his eyes black. At this point, he still looks really dead to me, but after applying some white paint, damn, he looks so much better. Just another black dot for his nose and he's done.
Pikachu!
As for Rai, we need to mask his yellow parts up before painting his body. I used some tape and some blue tack and airbrushed some orange on him. This time we need more brown, some black, and the white dot of life, and more white for his tummy. For his foot, I gave him some beige, but of course, only on the one you can see cause I don't care about the back. Finally, we have Gorochu. Similarly, some masking, some blue tag, and this time, a much darker orange. And we can remove the maskings to reveal a nice mixture of vibrant colors. Gorochu has a lot more brown, thanks to the concept artist, and I had a lot of fun painting all of them. The most fun would definitely be the details, like tongue, eyes, nose, his cute little harmless fangs, and his belly full of jelly. Just applying a little gloss to make them look like toys. And speaking of gloss, I hope you hadn't forgotten our base and pole, cause I found a clear straw to replace our pole. And by dipping it into the gloss, it became clear as glass, as you can see when compared with the undipped portion. And you can just cut it and use the rest for the other two Pokemon. Well, thank you all for watching this Pokemon video. Should I make more lost Pokemon, popular Pokemon, or new Scarlet and Violet Pokemon? Leave some suggestions in the comments below. In order not to get burned out again, I will start pacing myself with the Toy Story videos and mix in different creations. Visit our community post for a detailed explanation. Check out my other videos and I will see you next time.